Okay, remember to key in your attendance. You need to hand in all your exercises, your revision and homework, everything next week by next Friday. Okay, we'll start with chapter 8, exercise 1, page 133. Then you need to complete revision 2, chapter 7. And project is chapter 7, page 225. Okay, chapter 8, mathematical modeling. Okay, the world around us is filled with various important questions that are not answered. A mathematical model is a mathematical relation that describes the real world situation. Process of construction mathematical models, which is called mathematical modeling. Okay, we then solve the mathematical problem and interpret in solutions and terms of real world problem. Okay, so the main thing is the modeling process. Okay, first of all, you need to start with identifying and defining the problems. Then only making assumptions and identifying the variables. Okay, third will be applying mathematics to solve problems. Fourth, verifying and interpreting solutions in the context of the problem. Fifth, refining the mathematical model. Okay, if let's say there's more resources gained, then you need to come back to identifying and defining the problems. Okay, lastly will be reporting the findings. So everything we base through this modeling process to solve any questions. Okay, so we look at example one. So based on the modeling process. Okay, so usually we don't start with a real world problem. Okay, this real world problem usually will be the question. Okay, this is the question. Then we start with identifying and defining the problems. Okay, the first one. Then only making assumptions. Then identifying variables. Okay, so this is a question from textbook. Okay, just a, a raw idea on what is the how to use the modeling process. Okay, the grocery store which is far from your house sells a pack of 10 kilogram rice at a lower price than the one closer to your house. Is it worth to the drive for the cheaper deal? Okay, so there are two. Okay, let's identify the problem first. Okay, identify first, then defining the problems. Okay, given from the question, the price of 10 kg rice. Okay, uh, they want to know the price of 10 a pack of 10 kg of rice and then the cost of petrol. Okay, the 10 kg rice and then to drive there we need petrol. Determine the distance of from the two stores to your house respectively. Okay, so you need to get the distance between the one near your house and the one further away your house. Find the information needed from the internet. For example, the price of pack of 10 kilogram rice from each store, the distance of each store from your house, the current petrol price, the car's petrol consumption rate, and so on. Okay. So we look at making assumption. So the route between the house store A and store B is a perfect straight line. So must assume that it's a straight line. There's no winding road. Okay. So that only you can calculate more constant answer. Then driving cars to the stores. Okay, that means you are using car to because you're driving, so you use a car to drive. And then purchasing the same number and brand of rice at store A and store B. Okay, this is the assumption. Okay, the assumption usually you must crack your brain. Okay, what assumption you think that suits this uh, question. Then we identify the variables. Okay, the variables we look here. Okay, they are S, small s, P, P1, P2, small m, small n, capital H, capital S, and capital T. Okay, if the S is the distance between store A and store B, the P1 is the price of 10 kilogram rice at store A, P2 will be price of pack of 10 kilogram rice at store B. The M is petrol consumption rate of the car in kilometer per liter. N is the car number of packs of 10 kilogram rice to be purchased. H is the current petrol price in ringgit Malaysia per liter. S is the difference in price of ringgit Malaysia for purchasing the pack of 10 kilogram rice store at store B as compared to store A. That means the difference, okay, difference of the price. And then T is the difference of the cost of petrol between B and A. Okay. So after identifying, we start with applying mathematics to solve problems. Okay. Applying mathematics to solve problems. Okay. Following here, the modeling process. Okay. The price of a pack of 10 kilogram rice store A is 25 ringgit and 95 cent. Okay. This is just an example. They find from it's not given, actually should give lah. Okay. So this is just a assumption given by the they found maybe from the internet. Okay. And then store A is 25 ringgit 95 cent. Store B is 23 ringgit and 99 cent. Okay, if you purchase 2 packs, that means 2 times 25.95 for store A. That means the total is 51 ringgit and 90 cent. For store B is 2 times the 23.99 will be 47 ringgit and 98 cent. Okay. Therefore, by purchasing the rice of the store at store B, one can save 51.90 minus 47.98. Both the minus you get 3 ringgit and 92 cent. Okay. Then let's say the distance between A and B is 6 kilogram, 6 kilometer. Okay. The petrol consumption rate of a car we found from the internet, okay, or the calculation for the car, okay, is 17.6 kilometer per liter, and then the current petrol price is 2 ringgit. This one is they find from the government internet consumer, okay, for the car petrol price is 2 ringgit and 8 cent per liter. So the petrol needed for 6 kilometer route is 6 kilometer divided by 17.6 kilometer per liter. So you get 0.341 liter. So the cost of petrol for if 2 ways means to and fro, okay, goes to the store and come back, there'll be 12 kilometer, means 2 times 6, okay. So it's 0.341 liter times just now that one 2.08 per liter, okay, times uh, times 2 because from 6 become 12 km, so times 2 ways, so you get 1 ringgit and 42 cents. That is the cost of petrol. So we look at after applying mathematics to solve problem, verifying and interpreting solutions in the context of the problem. So we verify it and then we interpret it by creating a formula, okay, based on the calculation. So we look here, there's S and T. The BS is actually just now mentioned earlier on in number 4. Okay, the identifying the variables. Okay, the BS is difference between the price of the rice between store B and store A, and the big T is difference of the cost of petrol between the difference between store B and store A. Okay, so we got the S, the difference of the price is 3 ringgit and 92 cent. Is 3 ringgit 92 cent. The capital S. So the T is the difference of cost of petrol is 1 ringgit and 42 cent. So 1 ringgit and 42 cent, because the one near the store next to your house is 0 ringgit, no cost of petrol. That's why it's 1 ringgit and 42 cent minus 0, you get 1 ringgit and 42 cent again. Okay, so based on this is a calculation. Okay, based on the uh, based on applying number 5. Okay, applying mathematics to solve problem. Okay, so we get these workings. So from here, if S, since S greater than T, that means S is bigger than T, okay, you save more money by purchasing rice at store B, okay. So it is sensible to drive to store B, okay. So from here, we can see that if let's say the difference of the rice is much more than the cost of the petrol, that means it's worth it lah. It's worth it to, because it's worth it to go to store B further away from your house, okay, to buy the 10 kilogram rice for two packs, okay. So from here, okay, we look at after uh, verifying and interpreting solutions in the context of the problem. Okay, we look at refining the mathematic model. Okay, so the assumption made regarding the route between the house, store A and store B is a straight line to be revised. If it's not a straight line, okay, the route between the three places is not a straight line. How does this impact our model? Okay, if new assumptions are being made, then the model needs to be revised to reflect this change. Okay, so for reporting the findings, the final one, okay, sometimes it's not necessary to write. Okay, use symbol and diagrams when necessary to report the findings. The symbols and diagrams will depict the whole modeling process until it leads to results. Every model has strengths and weaknesses. What is important is that the model identifies those strengths and weaknesses in the report. For example, okay, the value of a person's time is not considered in this model. Is it worth driving an extra 12 kilometer for someone to save 2 ringgit and 50 cent? To save the 2 ringgit 50 cent, that means use up the time. Is it worth it? According to this model, saving 5 cents is considered worthwhile. The model did not account for any environmental considerations. Is it environmentally responsible to drive an extra 12 kilometers just to save 2 ringgit and 50 cents? This model did not account for environmental effort, such as efforts to reduce carbon emissions. Okay, because you use petrol, it means you are not saving the earth. Okay. This a rough idea on this modeling process. Okay, so we look at example two. Okay, Jeremy saved 4,000 ringgit at Bank Bunga Raya with a simple interest rate of 1.5% per annum. That means 1 year is interest rate is 1.5%. It's simple interest rate. Jeremy wants to buy a computer worth 4,455. That means more than 4,000 ringgit. So we need to have the extra money from his saving to buy the computer. With his savings, how long does Jeremy need to save? Okay. So if you look at the modeling, I think I have to show you the modeling first. Okay, so from the modeling process, we start with identifying and defining the problems. So that is why the A is start from identify and define the problem. Then only after that, making assumption and identifying the variables. Then determine the assumptions and identify the variables to solve in solving the problem. So in this question, only they use two. Okay, sometimes uh, you need to do until refining the mathematical model. Okay, so we look back at the question. Uh, Jeremy saved 4,000 ringgit at the bank with the interest of 1.5% per year. Okay, then he needs to buy computer 4,000 with worth 4,455 with his savings. That means more than his 4,000 ringgit. So he depends on the interest rate. Okay, when you add up with the savings, then only you can buy the computer. But how long does it need to save for the extra 455 ringgit? Okay, so we look here. The answer for A, identify and define the problem. In this problem, we know the principal and interest rate. These are not required to write so long. Okay, the interest, okay, you can write, okay, uh, the interest rate, okay, uh, I is equal to PRT, okay, so we know, we need to know, okay, the principal we already know is 4,000 ringgit, okay, so the interest rate also we know is 1.5% per annum, okay, that's why we know the principal and interest rate. So you can write down principal 4,000 ringgit, interest rate 1.5% per annum. Okay. The interest from the saving is the amount that Jeremy needs beside the 4,000 ringgit to buy the computer. We need to determine how long Jeremy needs to keep his savings in the bank. Okay. So uh, identify, that means you know the principal, you know the saving interest rate. Okay. So for to define the problem, that means you need to uh, how much Jeremy needs to save, okay, uh, for 455 ringgit, okay, means you can write down 4,455 minus the 4,000, okay, you get the 455 ringgit. So for B, determine the assumptions that need to be made and identify the variables in solving the problem. That means for the B, you need to get the assumption and also the variables. So you write down the assumption, okay? We need to assume the interest rate does not change during the period of our interest calculation. Okay, so the assumption interest rate fixed interest rate. Okay, then we are using this formula I equal to PRT. Okay, we also need to assume the price of the computer does not change when Jeremy has raised the required amount of money. Okay, so and then you one is the interest rate does not change, fixed interest rate, and then the second one, uh, computer price is the same. Okay, no changes in the computer price. Okay, then the variables will be involving the I for interest, P for principal, the R for interest rate, and T for time in years. Okay, so any question you want to ask?